Hello, howdy, welcome, hi, welcome back, my gamers. This is another thrilling story from when I was on call as a cable guy, just in case you had no clue how you got here. So, welcome to the club, gamer. Glad you're here. This is all for a lady named Jessica. She's unemployed, not surprised. She's currently angry and is confident she will deal damage to me. She committed emotional damage to me, and psychological. I had a nightmare about this chick. Granted, it might be the playing Silent Hill while blitzed out of my fucking brain, but who knows. All I know is that before I head out to her trouble call, I get a call from my boss. It's after 5 o'clock. I'm not supposed to be getting phone calls from him. But he calls and he warns me and he just goes, "Hey, just so you know, if this lady at your next call is verbally abusive in any way, just leave." Well, shit, you don't have to tell me twice. So I show up and it's an old lady and her name is Jessica. But she lets me in. She goes, "All right, I'm going to show you what the problem is. Don't say anything." Okay, sounds like a plan. So I follow her into her bedroom. Oh, she closed the door. I don't really like that. Can you not block the way? So anyway, her problem, good old Jessica, the issue she's having is that when she turns on the TV using her company-provided cable box remote, it turns the TV on, but then it asks her to scan for channels. Now, in case you've never seen it before, it's basically just a little screen saying, hey, if you're trying to use an antenna, you gotta tell the television to try and search for channels. No big deal. This lady is older than cable has been in existence and doesn't know about over-the-air antenna. So she's just confused. Understandable, no big deal. So I try to tell her that, and then she stops me. She goes, listen to me. Yes, ma'am. And she goes on a long tale about the other technicians who have been here. Now, a funny story, I am not the first technician to come out for this job. I am not the second technician. I am the third technician. And I'm not the last. The first technician shows up. She explains the issue. He runs some tests. Says, LOL, you're dumb, and leaves. All said and done. The second guy that comes in is part of my team. Really good guy. Very polite. Sometimes a bit too polite, but hey, there are worse things to complain about. But he helps her out, tries to figure out why her TV keeps trying to scan for antenna channels, and also why her landline phone keeps clicking when she dials a certain number. And he spends a good amount of time there. Realizes, hey, there's not a real issue here, changes some settings on the television to just open up to last input so she won't have to press a button anymore, and all is said and done. And he says, I'll call you back later on this week. So later on that week, he gives her a phone call. As I learned, she was in the middle of a Walmart, not able to answer the phone, which is fine. But she then proceeds to scream and yell at him over the phone. And as I know, she is in a Walmart. And just screaming and cussing him out and going, you didn't fix shit, I need you out here right the fuck now. And you know, I listened to the recordings for the phone conversation. I'm very surprised. Not really. But still, just hearing those words come out of this lady's mouth, insane. So then I get to show up. That's why my boss had called me, gave me the warning, if there's any verbal abuse, to just get out of Dodge. And she's telling me about her experience with the last technician, my team member, and just saying how he is the spawn of the devil, the worst person to ever exist. Ignore that. And how he is just the poster boy of everything wrong with this country. As he did everything in his power besides, like, off himself in front of her in order to try and fix her issues. So I get to show up, and she's regaling this tale, and how she knows the VP of engineering for my company in this town, and that's how she got me out here so quick. Even though it was my boss saying, "You can just leave, gamer." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, sick." So I show up, nothing's wrong at all. And I'm here for an hour and a half, and she's telling me her life story. And unfortunately, I can't share any of it because it's actually notable. She did a lot of work for stuff down in Texas, and it's part of a program that I'm part of, which is fucking mind-boggling. Odds are a good portion of folks watching is probably part of the same program. But yeah, that's who I'm dealing with, a person in obvious cognitive decline who, on an instant's notice in the middle of telling me stories about her realtor, went from saying that she's like the sister she never had to calling her a disgusting two-faced cunt. I wasn't ready for this on a fucking Friday afternoon. I just wanted to go home and, maybe smoke a little something something and have a good time, maybe have a drink. But no, now I have to have a drink to forget about my experience. But she tells me her life story. She begs me to give her a hug, which I'm ashamed to say I didn't. I said, "Ew, gross, cringe, don't touch me, Jessica, don't touch me. I swear to God, don't touch me." And then I'm trying to leave, and she's trying to escort me out. Oh, this is the bathroom, by the way, ignore that. She escorts me out and just goes, "Well, can I at least get your phone number so we can call and have conversation, or like maybe go to lunch?" Which is a huge, massive no-no. We are not supposed to give out our phone numbers. But as I'm in the middle of going, sorry, can't give out the phone number, there was a couple of people, she goes, "Well, the last technician did it, so are you gonna get him fucking fired or what?" Um, yeah, this is cool. Why do you have multiple personalities and why is it my fault? So I just immediately get out of Dodge. I get into my company provided truck and I zoom away off into the sunset. After I get around the corner, I text my supervisor, let him know, "Hey, there was no issue here. She's crazy. Never send me back here because I will refuse." And in fact, it has been about a month since this happened. I still have their account open on my job board, so that way if I ever see the matching name and address, I can call and say I refuse entry, because this lady's gonna stab me. But that would be, a simple story if that's where it ended. But gamers, that's not where it ended. And in fact, I have my work phone with me, so I can read some of the comments that have been made on her account since I've been out there. Because there has been not one, not two, but three. Three other technicians who had to stop out here. Four if you count a manager that went alone. So, after my lovely visit and saying that nothing is broken, fuck off. Everything is all fine and dandy for the span of one day. Just one singular day. She calls in one day after me, and at this point, I don't care about anything anymore. I get a call from a technician who's going to visit, and he's asking questions like, is she actually as crazy as all the notes make it seem to be? And it certainly is. So as it is about 12:45, he gives the customer a call. Jessica picks up the phone, goes, "I thought you said you were going to be here at 12, where are you?" Meanwhile, it is about 12:45. He's 15 minutes away from this home because, cable guy's got to eat lunch too. But he goes, "Nope, this work order was scheduled for 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Certainly not 12." And she goes, "Well, that's what they told me over the phone." He goes, "Well, ma'am, I can assure you they definitely didn't set it up that way." And then she started verbally abusing him and hung up on him. So he got to close out her work order and just not even have to do anything. So that was pretty swag. The next one is conveniently after hours. Well, attempted after hours. After not getting a person out there for her, she called in later on in the evening. At this point, a special note was put on her account that by no means is a technician supposed to come out here while on call. A manager must be always available in case she has some extra issues. So, later on, technician attempt number 2 after me is another member of my team that I work with and my boss. My boss is a big man. He looks like a Viking. He could eat you if he wanted, but he could also bench press like at least 350. It's fucking incredible. But he goes out, technician doing the job, she's doing her best, finding out that there's no fucking issue like every other technician who's been there before has said, and he's on distraction duty. So just like how I have to do distraction duty talking with meth heads so my trainee doesn't get stabbed, he's here to make sure that his underling employee doesn't get stabbed. Very admirable, very great. They get to the end, and she kept having little momentary lapses where she's about to start yelling, but then doesn't yell. Or she'll yell about something else, like her bitch of a realtor that's her God-given sister. I don't make the phrases, she did. But they say, nothing's wrong, lol, pound sand, please die, and leave. Well, that's not everything. Evidently, there's still issues. The phone is still clicking every time she calls a certain phone number, even though it never did it whenever we tested her phone. And every time she turns on the television, it has our cable and then immediately goes to scanning for channels. And at this point, almost a majority of technicians can tell you, oh, her big fat thumb is hitting the input button on the remote and is changing the input on the TV after turning it on. Easy fix, press one button at a time, stupid. But evidently we don't learn all of that in elementary school. But next technician has to come on out, and he shows up, gets in the door for about 5 minutes, when out of nowhere, he is trying to tell her that we're not finding any issues here, and starts getting pushed out of her home. She starts pushing him while screaming at him that if you're not going to fix the fucking issue, I want you out of my home. I will not let you back in. There's one very large difference between myself and that technician. In fact, there is a big difference between everybody who has been out to Jessica's home and this one technician. The technician that she finally snapped and yelled at over the phone and then physically pushed out of her home is not white. I hate to call a spade, but when she says questionable things to me, and then the next thing I hear is that one of our non-white cable guys goes out and then gets immediately screamed at and pushed out the door, I think I know what's happening here. So yeah, I get a nice, lovely little phone call because that technician scrolls down through the notes and then sees my big old dumb name, calls me and goes, "Hey, experienced technician, what the fuck is the deal over here?" And I have to explain that I have no clue. It is what it is. And the saga finally ends when, for finally, the last time she calls in, and then one of our big time managers goes out all by himself. He used to be a operations manager down in a smaller town. He moved up and became a regular manager up here, but he basically knows how to run the entire region if he has to. It's pretty sick. But he shows up, has polite conversation with her. She doesn't yell once. He informs her that there is absolutely no issue at all with any of the equipment we are trying to work on. And he said that there was a brief moment where it looked in her eyes like she was either about to ask him to marry her or just pull out a wand and, cast a magical spell or some shit. But he leaves, and the last note we have on her account, because no one else has been able to... Sorry about that sneeze there. Welcome back, gamers. Say bless you in the comments. The last... Yeah, funny comment segue. The last comment left on her account is that by no means is a technician supposed to come out for any of her issues if they're related to her television or her phone, and that if we do have to come out, she is forced to pay a mandatory $100 surcharge for every technician visit. Now, normally, with our billing system, it's set up that you have to pay so much per month because you have the opportunity to have a technician come out, blah, 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 fix your shit. The company very obviously banks on never having any problems so they can just keep that influx of revenue, but it's there for a reason. I have to get paid somehow. Give me all your money. I want to buy a Lamborghini, and YouTube simply ain't doing it. You fuckers keep seeing the Silent Hill videos and unsubscribing. And you know what? Shoutouts to you gamers. I appreciate you. You're the real ones. You don't like it, you leave. Just like how I didn't like this lady, and I want her to leave my fucking company. But that is basically the second scariest moment I've ever had on this job, because the first one was when a hand grenade fell on my foot. But that's a story for another time, gamers. I'll see you in the next one. Hell yeah.